So here it is, version 1.22 of Memorial Designer UK, and there's a few new features and a few new additions to the product. So let's start off with a few of the simple things, which is new memorial shapes, new memorial designs, etc., all accessed from the same import location. So I've implemented this slightly differently, as you'll see in a second. So if we just pop up CJ imports, for example, you can see we've now got a number of new designs in there, but I'll just stick with the tried and tested OG for the moment. First thing to note is that I didn't have to press space bar to put the memorial into the middle of the screen. The import function now has been changed, so it just automatically brings it in at the right location, and it just makes life a little bit easier. There's a couple of other things on that front that you'll notice change along the way. Next thing is, once you've done the install, you'll need to configure up a couple of new fonts. We've shipped in, about 6 new fonts with this particular version. So if you press Control and click the text editor, and then click Load Fonts, and then ignore the scary message box, click OK, and that'll bring those new fonts in for you. The fonts that we've added are all TBS ones, so you'll find them in the TBS section of the font list. And you'll find that we've now got TBS Trajan, which we've been asked for a few times but haven't actually released before now. So Trajan Bold is now there, along with a variety of others. A full list of all the different features and fonts and files that have been installed is available on the release document. So if we now go into our text editor, you'll see that there's a couple of changes in here. The first change is that you can see we've now got angle here, and I've taken away the angle or the italic button from the left hand side. So I've added one button in, which we'll come to later on, and I've taken one button away, so hopefully the changes shouldn't be that significant that you struggle to use it. So the angle button will just italicize in terms of it will slant the letters over. It's not true italic. The true italic function is still up here on the top of the menu here. So it just slants the letters over. Inside our settings here, we have a variety of different options now, so you can choose each one of these individually. The two new ones at the bottom here are italic angle and italic length, and line length. And then I've also got this zoom all on apply. So when you click apply, it will zoom out to everything. Sometimes that's worthwhile having switched on, particularly if you're doing work on a vase and the vase doesn't appear in the same place as the letters. It'll just zoom out so you can see exactly what you've got. So I've got all of these things checked at the moment, but you can just choose to display the ones that you actually use on a regular basis. You'll notice at the moment that there's no line length shown, and even if I was to type in Loving, you can see that there's no line length shown. The line length appears when you click the apply button. So I've now got the length of that line there, and we can just adjust the angle if we want to, and if we click apply, then as you can see it just tilts over the letters slightly. I'm just going to exit out of there, and we'll go back into the text tool and just put a full inscription in. And then we can see some of the other features along the line. So obviously now we get the full length of the lines. It just allows you, if you've got the size of a memorial, to adjust line lengths by either compressing it or whatever as you see fit. I'll click exit on that. And the next new feature, we've got a number of new fills on there. So I've just picked some of the ones out there. I've got a variety of different fills in here for chipping colours. So we've got chipping colours should you need them now. But we've implemented a Purbeck stone, and just click OK on that, and an Abracina and a York stone as well, as alternative granite fills. If you have a granite fill that you need me to implement, then I can always implement those granite fills for you. The next feature that we've got is we've got the bold button here. Now we're all used to the bold button, or we should be used to the bold button. So if I was to click the line Bill Smith and click the bold button, it will fatten the letters fractionally. You obviously lose the fact that it's now no longer text, or you lose the fact that it's text. So you have to bear that in mind. But there is also the ability, instead of fattening, if I press the shift button and click the bold object, then it will thin the letter down by the same amount that it fattened it up. So if you've got a font that's slightly too fat or a font that's slightly too thin, you can now go both ways when trying to adjust line lengths, etc., or line weight, etc. So let's just undo that and go back to where it was, which is there. So the next feature we've got is pin lines. So you can see I've added a new button here. This is the button for doing pin lines on memorials. You have to select the object that you want to do a pin line around. Now it needs to be a single object rather than a group of objects. So if I select my memorial at the moment, it will select the group of objects which is defined by the memorial. If I press Control and click, then I will just select the headpiece. And that's basically where we need to be when we're doing pin lines. We just need to have the headpiece itself selected. So if I click that one, we can now see that we've got various options available to us. We can choose the width of the pin line, we can choose the distance from the pin line to the edge of the memorial, and we have this option here, extend to base. I'll come on to that in a second. So if I was just to click create, then it will create me a pin line around the memorial, which is 5mm thick. So the thickness of the line is 5mm, and the distance from the line to the edge of the memorial is 20mm. If we want to fill that, we can either select the pin line becomes part of the memorial. So if you want to just select the pin line on its own, you need to click the Control button and click the pin line. And then I can fill it gold or any of the random colours down the bottom here if I so desired. I can also delete it, because what I want to do at this point now is to create a pin line that's extended to the base of the memorial. And so all I have to do is check the button here. Let's make it a 10mm pin line. And you'll see now that it puts a pin line right the way down to the bottom of the memorial. If you want to fill it individually, as I said, press Control and click, but equally, if you just select Fill All Objects, it will fill it with whatever stain colour 1 is, in this instance red. I'm not sure why I've chosen red, but there you go. Another features, flower containers, that's right. So on the flower container, we've now got a number of different options available to us. So that's the one that we're all familiar with, which is just accessed by pressing, by clicking the vase. If I press Shift and click the vase, it will bring in a pink one. If I press Control and click the vase, it brings in one that you're looking at as a top down, and if I press Shift and Control together, we should end up with a blue vase. So I've just set those up as defaults, etc. There are a variety of different ways that you can implement this just by creating your own vase designs. So if you had one with slots or whatever it happens to be, you can press Control, Shift, or Control and Shift to get one of 4 different options for the vase. Exactly the same is true for flowers, and exactly the same is true for backgrounds, etc. Talking of backgrounds, there are a few variations on backgrounds that we've done in this particular delivery. So the first is that backgrounds understand now whether you're looking at a memorial which is taller than it is wide or wider than it is tall. So if I just click Add Background to here, that will bring in my standard background, and that's suitable for printing on an A4 sheet of paper in the portrait fashion. If I delete that and I actually take the memorial and I make it a really wide memorial, and I now click on the background, you'll see that it brings in a different shaped background. So this is the landscape version of the same file. You create these now by having a BK file and a BKV file. BKV is the vertical version, and BK is the horizontal version. So this background here that we're looking at now is the BK version. There's another feature within here which we've done, which is to implement a safe zone, and the safe zone is the area in which the memorial is going to fill. So if I just go over to the object manager here and I open my BK file, you can see I have this object called MD Safe Zone. If I turn on the border on that, you'll see that it is a rectangle, and what it does is it will put the memorial or whatever it is that you've drawn as big as it can into that safe area, which means that the Memorial will never interact or interfere with the order number, and it will scale it accordingly. So if you've got a vase, it'll blow the screen up to fill the vase. If you've got a 4-foot high Memorial, then it'll adjust it accordingly. So that's that. There's a whole video on that which I can point you in the direction of in the release notes, where Cameron explains exactly how you go about creating that object and how it works. But simple version is you've got a rectangle which is called MD_safe zone, and if you create that rectangle within your background file, then it will put the Memorial into that space. The final thing is, if you've forgotten any of the stuff that we've covered, either in the installation or in these release videos, etc., we've now got a help button, which is available underneath the Memorial Designer menu option, and that will navigate you out to our website. And on that website you have links to the videos and various other bits and pieces there. So should you have any need for help along the way, then you can always click that help button and it will hopefully give you the information that you require. New versions available today, and if you have any problems with the installation, then give us a call. It should be a relatively straightforward one because it should follow on from, it should pick up all of your settings that you've all the license information that you've already keyed in. The key information is knowing which version of which version of Coral you're running. The majority of people will be on Coral version 2018, so choose 2018 for the Coral version. The rest of it should all run smoothly. Any queries, give us a call. Thank you.